Hello everyone, this is Bigalski and welcome to part number 2, The Streets, for my Hunter the Reckoning Nightmare commentary walkthrough video. Now this is solo. Now I've seen some other comments on YouTube or people not happy with solo play, saying it's supposed to be as a multiplayer game, and it is. It's a lot of fun doing that, but I don't have 4 people to play with and record at the same time. I mean, my wife and some other friends will get together and play, but I don't have the ability to record. And also I will say it seems to be a lot harder the more people you have to play. I mean, the resources are a lot more scarce, and it seems to take a lot more hits to kill enemies, especially the bosses, but it's also a lot of fun to play. I highly recommend people playing it, either multiplayer, as many players as you can, up to 4, or playing solo and going through with the different characters. Now, again, I could just run through all of this, but I'm going to, like I said in the intro, fight everybody. A lot of these guys respawn here. You can hear them respawn on the screen and go back and fight them. Again, I could run up, but again, everybody must die in the zombie apocalypse, or whatever this is. Now, this video is very long in itself. I mean, it's over 40 minutes long because, again, I choose to go back and fight everything. So it's going to be boring. I said that earlier. I'll probably say it again. And also on the title, I always kind of open with the same thing, just in case. You never know, it might be somebody's first video, and I always want to be welcoming as possible. A little bit about my videos for people who don't know: I like to have a title screen explaining what it is and what I'm doing, just in case they don't want to listen to the audio. And I also kind of have an end title screen, and in this case it's the game cover picture. I played on the original Xbox. It did come out for GameCube. I never played on that. So anyway, as you can see, this is really boring. I do have some of the heavier weapons right now. I think I have my shotgun and my machine gun, but I really want to save that for when the crowds get really tough. They really start to swarm you. That's when I want to use that. So again, be careful when they like to drop the blue and or red, and if you go up and they spawn right on you, it could really hurt you. Also, they do have a melee weapon. I have like a little cross sword, I guess, however you want to call it. And it's a lot of fun to play when you're playing on the normal difficulty, but on the nightmare mode, like I'm playing on, if you miss, you get swarmed by 3 or 4 enemies, and it's not like it's a lock on target. That was a great move. I was thinking, man, can I blow up this car? I didn't realize it was going to do damage on me too. But if you start missing these guys with your sword, they can kill you really quick. And again, the goal for these first few parts, I guess that's the best way to call them, I want to keep as many lives as I possibly can. So just run back and forth, run in circles, learn to strafe. I think, I want to see how much ammo I have right there. I don't want to pick that shotgun up because I would lose some of the bullets. So I really want to be smart about when to use it and when not to use it. So again, if I went to go pick that up, I think I can only hold 38 or 36, so I'd be wasting bullets. Again, I'm showing the cutscenes right here.
Kaylee?
So I'll let this play out.
Kaylee! There was a little girl I was watching. I need to get her to the church.
I'll take care of the girl. You go ahead.
It's funny. They're like, what's wrong with you people, when I'm trying to save them? So the controls aren't very responsive sometimes, especially like when you reload. There is a delay. Make sure you're not really close. Keep an eye on your ammunition counter. The last thing you want to do, and it's actually happened to me a few times, I go to reload right next to a bunch of them. So again, if I took my melee weapon out and tried to fight all those guys, and you see those blues and reds disappear pretty fast, but if I took my melee weapon out, I was going to get swarmed and I would die really quick. So that's what makes this video boring. but that's also what makes it challenging. Now, since I have a lot of time to talk, and I'll talk as much as I can, really kind of starting out with the game. In the later videos, I probably won't need to talk as much because people will know what's going on. But one thing I miss about the old games is how they would come with the instruction manual. The hunter's manual is what this was called. I was going to upload some pictures, but I never could get a good one without some kind of glare. So I guess people could look those up and see what it's all about. But it has, how to play the game. Everything now is like online or whatever, but it gives you the information getting started. The actual picture inside of it is the old Duke controller. God, that thing was so heavy. But it explains all the weapons, how to move, what to do, what the different buttons are. Gives you, I'm just kind of flipping through the pages right now as this is going on. The left thumbstick moves, the right thumbstick aims. So again, you can move one direction, push the thumbstick in the other direction to, aim. That's very critical. If you press the left trigger, that helps you. If you're going like that right there straight, I would actually roll. So that's something that's very critical to be able to do. There's also some different button combinations with the melee, like right, trigger then left to do like a lunging attack. I really don't ever do that since I really don't use my melee weapon that much. There'll be instances where I do use the melee weapon, but like I said, on swarms like this and some of the moves that they recommend, like you can hold the right trigger down and it does a sweeping attack. Well, you got to hold that for like a second for it to charge up, so to say, and by then they're going to level you. So see, I tried to get greedy to get the blue and I lost a little health. So again, you got to be really careful. But I misspoke in the first video. I said something about ward, using the ward. Ward is actually one of the edges. It's called edges, and each hunter has their own set of edges. And the judge, let me kind of go through the book here, because I never really learned all the names of the edges. I never really learned all the moves and the names of all the moves in Ninja Gaiden Black. So just never really been good with that. Let's see, so what edges do I have? So I am the judge, so I have Word of Power, and that's really the main reason that I chose. Wait, what does the Word of Power do? Let's see, here we go, yeah. Word of Power, that's the one where I throw like the little laser beams out and it kills people. That's one reason why I chose Judge on Nightmare mode. Again, see, I don't want to pick up that shotgun. But I chose the Judge because the Word of Power really gets you out of a lot of trouble when they swarm really quickly. Now the bad part about it is if you use it a couple times and they don't drop any blues, then you could be in trouble. So that's the one bad thing, and then you're really going to have to fight them. Here I got my shotgun ammunition down a little bit, so I'm going to run back. As boring as it is, I'm going to run back and pick up that other shotgun. A lot of this, see again, bad, see, bad. But that's what happens sometimes. They get swarmed and you have to do it a certain way and you want to lead them, and then if you rush it a little bit too soon, then you're going to mess up, and then if you mess up, it's going to cost you some lives. And it doesn't in this video right here, me messing up, but in some of the later ones it does. I've already recorded probably 10 sections of this, and now I just got to really do the audio and put the video together. But the Judge has Word of Power, Burden, and Rejuvenate, and I use the Word of Power a lot, and then after, I'll get the Burden, and the Burden kind of freezes people right where they are. I really don't like using that too much. Haven't really messed with it too much. I'm not sure if it holds some of the stronger enemies or not. I'm really not sure. But because I really want to focus on the Word of Power. And then the other one I have, and I'll get later on, is the Rejuvenate. And that where you can use some of your blue to rejuvenate your red. In order to build up, and they're called edges, And like I said, I misspoke earlier, but they are called edges. In order to build up your edges, you have to kill people. You have to, the more you kill, the more experience you gain, the faster you'll level up, you know, not only your skills, but you know, increase your edge ability. And nothing like, you know, you think you have the edge ready and then you don't have enough and it just kind of whiffs and then you're in trouble. So I'm just going to leave these around. Again, I know it's boring, I'm sorry, but you know, I made a commitment to fight every fight and show everything on video. So feel free to fast forward in the YouTube video if you want. You know, I could have skipped all of this stuff and started running immediately up this street right here and to the left, but there's enemies to the right and there's enemies to the, you know, in front of me. You want to really save as many lives as you can, because it does get much harder in some of the sections later on. So again, in these first few sections, try to, you know, maybe only lose 1 or 2 lives at the most. And then, you know, you'll have the ability to burn a few lives, so to say, in the final, you know, in the sections. Now those skitters right there, I think that's what they're called. You got to be careful of those because they blow up, and if you're close and you miss some and they blow up, you know, a few of them can end you really quick here on Nightmare mode. So that's the thing, when they come out and you have your melee weapon out and they pop out and you miss them, you know, you're almost pretty much dead here on Nightmare mode. So again, you want to play it safe. I can't stress that enough, as boring as it is. And I can't stress that enough. Trust me, when you're sitting there just pulling the right trigger and moving a little bit for 30 and 40 minutes, it does get a little bit boring. Now, one thing I will say while all of this is going on, how I decided to make the videos is I decided to go ahead. There's 30 sections to the game, 30 parts to the game. So what I did is I made a video for each part. I didn't put anything together. I didn't, you know, just combine the smaller sections into one video. So, you know, this one's going to be long. The one before that was a little bit short. There's some later on in the game that are going to be really short. But I just figured, if you look at some walkthrough on GameFAQs or other, you know, information sites, gaming sites across the net, it's usually broken down in these parts. So that's how I decided to go ahead and make these. So having said all of that, we'll take a quick break while all of this is going on. I mean, there's really nothing to say right now. Just kill all these guys. Again, I could have skipped all of this, but you know, I want to kill everything, and it's part of the game. I mean, you know, I paid for the game, and everybody can play however they want to play. And you know, I've done a run where I just go through it as fast as I can, and I've also done a run like this where I've killed everybody. You can blow up that truck too, but be careful. I think you can actually kill some of your survivors, or the enemies can kill. If you take too long to save them, I think they can kill them too. So again, I'm not too sure. It's been a long time since I played. I try not to read up a little bit too much before I started playing this, just to enjoy the newness of replaying the game. But anyway, I will come back in a few minutes and talk to you guys later.
Who the hell are you supposed to be?
See, here was an example of, even though I had to backtrack, I wanted to go back and make sure I used everything that the game gave me. So it's boring, sorry. I keep saying it's boring, sorry. But also, after playing the Ninja Gaiden Black games, Ninja Gaiden Black, Ninja Gaiden 2, Ninja Gaiden 3, I never got into Razor's Edge. But this is actually kind of calming and relaxing. I know I didn't need to pick up that machine gun because I would have used more bullets, or I would have wasted bullets because I was almost full. So again, I'm going to go up and use the bullets, and then I actually have 2 machine guns I can come back and pick up. The camera angle is not always that friendly. Sometimes you can walk around a corner and all of a sudden somebody be there, and then you could be in trouble. Like, I can't tell you how many times that skitter has hurt me. Not being right around the corner and I couldn't see him coming up and blowing up. So I want to use as much as I can before I pick up this shotgun. Now that says bonus continue, objective complete, bonus continue awarded. So right now I could actually go and run and complete the level. But I don't want to do that. I want to kill all the enemies. I want to gain experience points because I really want my edges up. Again, I've said that, I'll probably repeat it again, just how important all of that is. Now the button combinations to scroll through your basic weapons, you know, between my crossbow and sword is the X button, and then to activate it, either press A or the right trigger. To scroll through the special weapons, the machine gun, the shotgun, the flamethrower, the rocket launcher, you know, stuff like that, the chainsaw, you're going to use your B button, and then again, to activate it, press A or the right trigger. And then your edges is the Y button. Now, the one thing that I really dislike about this game is some of the inconsistencies that it has. To me, your starting edge, or my starting edge, is the word of power. So to me, whenever I press Y, that should be the first one that comes up. So right there, it just came up. Now, whenever you gain experience and you gain the burden edge, then it will be the first one that comes up for a couple of parts, and then it will be the second one that comes up. So that actually, you know, causes me a little confusion a couple times. So just kind of be leery of that. You see me getting in trouble and not changing and getting to a bad, look how much damage that does. So that was really bad, and just kind of panicked because he was coming. I should have switched the weapons earlier when I had the chance, and I didn't do it. And you know, sometimes you think, oh, I'll be able to make it and I'll be fine, and you know, then you're not, and then you're dead. So just be careful. On the regular difficulty, you wouldn't have these issues, but on nightmare mode, again, you make a few mistakes and you can get punished pretty quick. So I think here I'm going to go back and grab my, I wanted to make sure so you couldn't even see that corner. Again, I've been hit by a skitter before being on that side. Now the little rejuvenation one, that's the health one, and then there's one that's shaped kind of like an E, and that's for your blue. You get 4 of those per level. or I guess, you know, once you use the 4, it runs out. So if you're playing 4-player and everybody needs one, you're out already. So you really got to be careful here. I think I got to blow the truck up, I think, in order to, because you can jump on it. See that skidder spawns? Now listen, because you can hear it and you can kind of hear it tick. So they can respond from anywhere in front or behind you. But again, those edges, it's a little frustrating because, you know, it's just not consistent. And maybe that's how they designed it, I don't know, to keep you on your toes. But, you know, in one section you press it once and there's my word of power. Go to the next one, I press it once, there's my burden. Go to the next one, I press it once, there's my word of power again. So just some of the inconsistencies. But overall, you know, once you get used to it and pay attention, it's not that bad. So the doubling back, again, it's boring. You know, it's funny, y'all guys watch the videos and everything, but I got to sit here for the 43 minutes and 1 second this video is. So I could have not done any commentary. I mean, it's pretty straightforward as it is, but I've always liked the commentary. And, you know, hopefully it helps people out, gives them some new understanding of the game. Now, I could go right now. I'm trying to blow up that truck and I keep missing it. Because if that truck blows up, it'll take up a lot of guys. But right now, I could run past all of this and go straight to the right-hand side, and it would be over. The save, the little green save is already glowing right now, but you know, I just want to kill everybody. I find it so relaxing. It's, I guess, as weird as that sounds. Great time for that to blow up. I could have blown up any of the other times I was blasting it with bullets. It had to blow up right when I was standing next to it. And I wasn't even targeting that. I was pushing the direction stick forward to target the other guys, and it decided to go off to the right a little bit, like it did in the video before where it shot at the trash can. I know people are thinking, why aren't you pulling out your melee weapon and using that? That's the fun part of it. But because I've just suffered so many deaths so fast, you see how many they just respawn. They can respawn in front of you and behind you, and all you got to do is miss one time, and you get about 2 or 3 hits and you're dead on Nightmare mode. Now these gargoyles are made of stone, so needless to say, my crossbow really isn't going to do any damage to these guys. And this is where your melee weapon really comes in handy. But what I want to do is make sure the other zombie guys are dead before I try focusing on just working on the gargoyles. Now, one thing you'll see me kind of walk around in circles and run around. What I'm trying to do is get them in a certain area or a certain pattern to where if I want to use my word of power, I don't think I have enough of it right now. But, you know, kill as many as I possibly can. The last thing you want to do is mess up and only kill, you know, a couple of them. So I see that I have a shotgun up there. I think I have a health clip up here too. Now, here's these skitters. So I see that I had a weapon, and now it's time to, I want to pull out the machine gun and try to get rid of those skitters. Those are I'm worried about the most right now. And if I had enough for the word of power to kill everybody, this would have been the best place to do it at. The bad thing about having to stay back is when they do drop the red and blues, it's hard to get them. Remember, I could just go and finish the level if I wanted to, but a lot of people don't have the patience for this nitpicky stuff like I do. You know, I play a lot of the Ninja Gaiden. I like to play for score, and you know, there's a lot of resets and things that happen whenever you're playing for score, and you know, it's just easier when you just run through the game and you're not worried about time limits or score, or in this case, you know, killing all these zombies. You see the green glyph there at the very back. I could go back there and end this right now. But see, now I'm getting low on health, and I really don't want to use a life right now if I don't have to. So me coming in these areas have activated a lot of the enemies. So they're going to be all around me. When I go back up top, when I go to these side edges, all of these guys are going to be there. There's the kind of the roll that you do with the strafe. Again, very important that you learn how to do that. It'll really get you out of jams. And also the ammunition that you carry over from this round, or that you end this round with, carries over to the next round. So one thing you don't want to do is use all your ammunition and then, you know, get to the next section and just have, you know, a couple things. It's really hard. See, I backed up so much I missed out on this blue. Trying to get this blue to get an edge going, or excuse me, to get my edge, my word of power to kill all those guys. This may not be the most efficient route. I think I decided, I forgot what was in the back. You know, it's been a long time since I played the game. I ran through it before I started this nightmare mode. But, see again, did I get it? Yeah. You know, the pattern's not optimal. Let's just say that. I think as the later chapters go on and I get used to it a little bit better, remember and understanding, you know, I'll get a little bit more efficient. I think I have my word of power now to where I can kill these guys if I wanted to, or I might be saving it. Usually whenever I record these videos, I record a bunch of parts at a time, and then, you know, like a week later or something, go and edit them all and then start putting the commentary together. So I really don't always remember what I did at that moment. Now these guys right here, see, whenever you separate them out and you can really focus on them and staying in front of them, you either want to stay in the front and just keep pressing your right trigger, or you want to go to the side to where they can't jump at you. If you kind of try to dance around them and miss, you're kind of open to attack. And then they can jump on you and then they can hurt you. So I think I danced around all of this to just make sure I got these guys separate. And you can hear them on screen. There's kind of like a low rumble whenever those guys are walking and they're near to you. So this will be a good time for, yeah, my word of power. See how I missed that? You know, I took a chance. You kind of walk. You got to face in the direction. You got to push your thumbstick in the direction to make sure you're going right with your edge. So you take a step forward. And so, kind of some bad missteps right there has caused me to, lose a lot of my life. Now, sometimes these guys will give you red or blue, and because they're such, I guess, stronger than the regular guys, the blue or red that they drop, gives you like 3 or 4 times as much as you would normally get from a normal enemy. Let's see, even there, I'll lose a little bit of damage or take some damage. Now, when I completed that objective and it unlocked the green glyph at the end, there's still friendlies or, humans, and innocent, I think is what they're called, to save. So, that's the other reason why I'm going through and making sure I get everything, because I want to save all the guys I can to keep the lives. I think I went ahead and used that a couple times because I really figured I wouldn't be needing to come back up this direction. And with me walking back and forth and nobody spawned, that means I killed everybody there. Or at least it seemed that way. And when they hit you, they stun you. And then if some of the other ones stun you again, you can die really quick. And some of those edges, especially, or when you miss, like that one next to me, I can't tell you how many times in this one section I went to go use my word of power and it missed the one person right next to me and I died. In Ninja Gaiden we had a term called recovery frames, and it seems like when you do the edges or whenever you activate the glyphs, you kind of have some recovery frames that, to me, I wouldn't think that you should get hit, especially when you're activating a glyph. But I've had it where I've activated the glyph and get shot off screen and end up dying. So you got to be careful with that too. Now, if you noticed right there, as I was running, I was shooting. Even though I didn't think that there was anything in front of me. These enemies can spawn, especially these little skitters can spawn in front of you. So it's really beneficial to, while you're running, even if you can't see anything, to shoot. So again, I like to get to the side, because if you get to the front and you miss and then he does the one attack, that could be trouble. Now that does some damage, and you could probably stand here for a much longer period of time, and it doesn't hit, every one of them doesn't hit. But you could do, to be safe, if you're worried about, losing a bunch of lives, to just do this. Again, people can play however they want to play. Be as safe as you want, be as daring as you want. I try to just, you know, my goal again, like I've said before, and I'm sure I'll say it again. See, there are these skidders right here. And again, I'm pushing the thumbstick forward, but it still shot the guys off to the right. Right there. God, that was so frustrating. So some of it called the kind of the chicken's way out, but you know, when you're trying to set a goal for a game to go through on the hardest level and fight every enemies, you know, you just can't go all gung-ho about it. And again, if people can, I would love to see the video.
Get away from me!
So again, there I was. I thought I was safe, and those guys appeared. There I go. See, that's how bad it was. Not having the right weapon selected, thinking that I had it made, and those guys spawned. So just a really, really kind of stupid way to die right there. You know, once you relax just a little bit, something can happen. So you just always got to be careful. And you've got unlimited arrows, so you know, I should have, as soon as I healed up, I should have known that the skidders could be coming. I mean, they have in the past where they just drop down and just be shooting. And then that probably wouldn't have happened. And I wasn't going to start over for one death after, you know, 37 minutes. I mean, I still have more time to go on this video, so I didn't want to go through all of that just for one life. Plus, it kind of sets a good example in the video showing what I'm talking about. You know, I can say, oh, bad things can happen if you're not ready, and then, you know, nothing happens. Like, well, hey, you know, what is this guy? What does he know? But there's a good example of me saying I wasn't ready, I wasn't prepared, and something bad happened. The other part of this, I mean, we still got a little bit of ways to go. There's so many enemies that come through here. And again, I don't want to use my stronger weapons because I'm going to need them for the next level, the beginning of the next level. But when I just make these commentary videos, as bad as it sounds, you know, I don't know exactly what I'm going to say. I kind of jump from here to there. I don't write it down and have a plan. And you know, in Ninja Gaiden, there were certain scenes or, you know, certain fights that you know you were going to fight, and you know, you could talk about those different fights. But here, this is just, you know, right trigger, right trigger, right trigger, right trigger, edge, change weapons. So, you know, there's not a lot to talk about that much on, or be, see, I don't even know what I'm trying to say now. It's hard to be specific, I guess, is what I want to say. So I don't write this stuff down, and just kind of how it comes on the video is what I decide to say. Maybe I should plan it out a little bit better on this, because again, a lot of this is going to be the same, just different enemies throughout the whole series. Now, there will be certain parts of the game where you want to do certain things a certain way, or at least in my opinion you do. One of the hardest sections that I just completed, that again, it'll be, I think it's part 10. You know, I really tried a lot of different ways in order to not use a lot of lives. I wanted to go through certain sections and say, okay, I'm not going to use a life here. I don't think I should use a life here. And then on that section, it's like, okay, if I use 5 lives, I'll be happy. And I ended up using less than that just because I decided on you know, have a certain plan and a certain way to attack. If I played on normal, it's not anywhere that big of a deal. But, you know, so having a plan and sticking with it. Again, I could have just skipped this and gone straight to the green, but these guys must die. As y'all saw, those skitters are on that side right there, and you got to be careful because sometimes when you get away from a certain area, the enemies will despawn. And don't rely that, hey, those guys are behind me, I've walked far enough away, they're going to despawn, and let me focus on these guys here on the side. And then all of a sudden, here comes the enemies behind you again. So you really got to be careful from here. Now, I wasn't going to go all the way around and fight these guys again, but I did want to kill them because they're bastards. And see, I even took damage there. I tried to, tried to get slick and make sure I killed them. But see, now that I took some damage, and you take your health, your edge, the blue for your edge, the red for your health, you take that with you plus all the ammo that you have. And I had a free heal right here. I might as well use it and take advantage. Sure, it takes a little bit longer, but for the objective that we're trying to do, you just got to be smart and take what the game gives you. Now see, now this time I'm shooting just in case. But see, I kept running instead of reloading. You can usually hear them whenever they drop. They make a little tickety tick sound, I guess, as they're scurrying up to you. So you can usually hear the enemies, or when they spawn, it'll be kind of like a little whoosh sound. And again, I don't know where I was going there. So that's it. I feel like I killed everybody. I did what I needed to do. I want to show this at the end, my game stacks, my stats, how many lives I have left. Just the experience that I have. Again, the more experience that you have, the more you're going to level up. And here's the kind of like my end screen. So that's it for this level. I hope everybody enjoyed it. I know it was a little boring. I know it was a little long, but hey, that's part of it. And if anybody has any comments or suggestions, helpful tips, helpful tricks, please pass it on and I'll try to include it in future videos. Thanks everybody, and we'll see you later.